Alright, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going over the Paragon's new update notes. I'm not going to do this that often for like each update, but this one I just want to put out there because I want to credit the people that made this decision with the tanks being nerfed. The tanks being nerfed in damage was a good call. I'm very happy with that. As a tank main myself, I play tanks all the time. I play tanks all the time. I play warriors all the time. I play supports all the time. I think it was a great call for tanks being nerfed in damage because I do feel that tanks do way too much damage, and I'm gonna go more in detail with that. So just stay with me. I'm just gonna go over all these update notes. So the first thing they show is just the skins, the prices of the skins, yada yada yada. Gideon's dimensional rift duration is longer now. Mako jumping ability has a longer cooldown as well. Rampage, this is where the tanks come in. They get a just a flat nerf in their base damages. I don't really understand the point of Aurora getting nerfed because she has only one damaging ability. I feel like that's kind of weird, but whatever. Uh, Subrog's not gonna make much of a difference. I hate how these tanks. As a tank main myself, I love my fucking tanks. You know, I love playing all my tanks. I love playing my warriors. But I can't help but think that they just do way too much damage. I'm talking maybe not so much steel. Steel's okay, but like Sevrog, you know, Rampage, fucking uh, I'm gonna go through Boris is another one. Adele, like majority of the tanks on this game do way too much damage. They really do. I personally think that they should really buff their their ability. Well, really, I think everyone should have a higher time to kill. However, I think the in the early game, I think there should be a longer timer for when you respond. Because if you're trying to take an objective, it is actually really difficult to take an objective in the early game because people spawn so fast. By the time you wipe out their entire team, try to take it, and by the time if you don't have like insane damagers on your team, more than likely half the enemy team will be back and fighting you again on the objective, and then they'll be able to take it. It's so stupid in the early game. Either make the timers longer or make the objectives pop up later. I don't really know what you can do with that, but one or the other because it's ridiculous. I just think the time to kill is way too fast in the game in general when it comes to the damagers. The damagers wipe each other out in like a couple hits practically. Even in Smite, like despite Smite being like I would say probably faster than this game. Uh, Despite that though, Smite it's not instant unless a fucking mage is like 5 levels ahead, has all cards and just ults you and you're dead. I mean, yeah, but that should happen at that point. In this game, you can be at the same level, the same amount of cards, and you kill each other within a couple hits. It's ridiculous. Carries do like well over 800 damage a shot with 100% crit or whatever. And another thing is too, mages are way too weak. Honestly, mages are way too weak. Uh, I think mages have a really rough time in this game. Morga shouldn't be and well, not hell, Shinobi's not even a mage. But Morgesh and I think Morgesh and Gadget's all are the only ones that can actually properly kill a tank. Belka got reduced in power. I don't even know why. Like she's not even that good to begin with. I don't think. I think she's like one of the worst mages. I think I don't. I never see her in the mid lane. I never see her in the mid lane, and anytime I do, she gets stomped on. Shinobi got nerfed, which I guess I'm definitely fine with. I think she's really strong. I think if you don't have a coordinated team, if you don't have ways to shut her down with CC or anti healing, like she just is way too strong on her own. It just seems like she has infinite sustain if you don't have like a crap ton of anti heal. Um, increasing race range with his attacks, I guess, and that's whatever. I don't really care. Uh, they okay, so they decrease the amount that this item costs. That's fine. Uh, also decrease the price of that. Decrease the price of this. That's fine. Increase the price of that. I already knew about that. Nerf this. I kind of think it was alright to begin with, but I think it's all. I think this item, honestly, I don't really care about this item to begin with. It's really only a jungle item. You only get this item if you're playing jungle with a tank, I feel. This item I don't ever get, but it has a different effect now, or whatever. I know about this thing. That's great. Uh, so yeah, a few items got changed. The big thing was for this video was the tanks, though. I definitely think the tanks being nerfed is a good thing in damage. They need to be toned down in damage. And the thing that pisses me off so much is Sevrog and Rampage both have ways to lock a person down and do far more damage than a character that needs to do damage as a tank. Greystone does so little in a fight. He has no way of slowing them, has no stuns. He has to do some form of damage in order for the people to even target him. And he has nothing for that. He has nothing for the enemy, like gives no reason for the enemy at all to target him. It's just like, all right, I'm just gonna let this Greystone hit me, kill all of his allies, and then I'll kill the Greystone after taking 30 seconds to do so. You know what I mean? Like, Greystone is the one character that's a tank that needs more damage, and he doesn't do that. I made a Greystone build for him. I just don't know if it's that good. Uh, I was hitting for 400 with it. It's decent. I haven't fully tested it though. I got the majority of the build, but it's okay. Uh, it just gives you a crap ton of health and armor while giving some amount of damage. But it's like his base stats though are like really weak, and they really shouldn't be. This is like the one tank in the game that actually should be damaging, and he doesn't do that. Like Sevrog, you want to get rid of him because he can burst you down very quickly. Same as like Steel. Well, not really Steel, unless he's going for like a lot of magic power. I guess then, but Sevrog is go full tank and still do well over 3 to 5 to 700 damage with a siphon. Well, maybe not 700, like 500. 500 damage with a siphon probably. But it can reach those levels of 700 if he's built like a health tank because he has so much health. And the one problem I do have though, like this character, Richter. I mention this in stream. I mention it all the time. I don't understand why this man was done so dirty. This guy used to be a HP juggernaut. What the fuck happened to that? Like, if you need to nerf the range of this thing to make it more tanky, fine. I'm good with that, honestly. Like, nerf the range to about, like, fucking. Let me just. Hold on, let me just make sure. I think the correct range for him should be, like, probably, like, right there. I think if you nerf the range like about this amount, I think it would be better because you wouldn't like it wouldn't be as strong. Not only that, but it would make him be more of a frontline tank, as you would have to actually get closer to the Rangers if his range was this instead of all the way up there. Because if I'm not mistaken, let me just make sure real quick. I'm gonna stand right here. Yeah, so it goes right there. Let's go to a damager real quick. Okay, so I stood like right about here, like right about there. Yeah, he has a little bit more range, I think, than a ADC. It might be the same amount, but I think it's a little bit more actually. So if you need to nerf the range on Richter, I'm fine with that, honestly. I think Richter needs a major buff though. Like, there's no reason that this big behemoth, he's the biggest hitbox in the fucking game, and you're telling me that he has the same durability as Kalari? Like, look at this. He has he has 100. He has 100. Well, okay, the stats aren't up to date because of the going up to levels automatically. But you look down here, right down here. You got 104.7 physical defense, 64.7 magical defense, and 2,413 health. Right? Stay with me. This big behemoth that has the biggest hitbox in the fucking game has the same durability as a fucking Kalari. I'm not shitting. Look at this shit. It has the same armor as Richter. It only has 100 less health? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, what the fuck? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Richter is one of the weakest melee heroes in the game as for his size range. Like, his size is huge. And you can body block shots easily. Why is he not a frontline tank? If you need to nerf the range on the pull, I am definitely okay with that as a Richter main myself. I think this is just criminal for him to be that fucking weak. It's why people try to build damage on him, which I don't even blame them. Because there's no reason to build him as a fucking tank. Because you can't build him as a tank. He's so fucking weak. He has no passive shield, has no way of getting out of a situation. He's just fucking free gold, walking around, practically. After the laning phase, he's useless half the time. Like, unless you're doing something specific, like just staying in a bush with your ADC and then, popping out of the nowhere and killing people right then and there, I guess you could do that, but you could do the same exact fucking strategy with Steel, and he has much better stats. And not to mention, he has a shield every time he charges, and it stacks with how much physical defense you have. So Richter had 104 physical defense. Steel has 124 and three more magic defense, while also having more than 150 more health. It's so stupid. But anyway, back to my fucking update. So the update thing, I want to put this out there now. I think the big the thing the big thing that need change for tanks. I think tanks definitely need more nerfs, but I think their ability across the board, not just tanks, across the board needs to be extended. I think because the thing is, a damager like Kalari, an assassin, right? Their base stats should not be only 200 less than someone like Rampage. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Their ability, a tank should have versus an assassin like Galari. A tank should have well over 500 more health than them. It doesn't make any sense. I think the assassins definitely need to have more damage for sure on their base kits. I definitely agree with that. I think assassins need more damage. And I think that assassins should also not just get these stupid abilities where they're locking themselves down with their ults. Like, what the fuck is up with this? You have Kalari and Xena that both lock themselves down. And, like, yeah, sure, Xena, you can't hit her. But all you gotta do, let me just walk into a tower or walk right in front of my ADC and just sit there, wait for her to come out, lay all your abilities on her, and she's dead. She's gonna fucking do? She's gonna fucking blink out of there. She's gonna have to dash or whatever. She's gonna have to disengage the entire fight, which is kind of useless for her ult to begin with. Like her ult's supposed to kill someone right then and there, and more often than not, it really just tickles a tank. Uh, I mean, unless you're extremely fed, like extremely fed Xena, sure. But if it's a Xena, it's on par with your tank. I've hardly ever had an ult kill me, to be honest. Uh, which is kind of weird to say, because I've had a lot of problems with a Xena. It's just when they're fed, though. So, and Kalari especially, you can still hit her in her ult, and she's locking herself down. And if she misses, uh, uh, she's fucked. She's getting pegged right then and there. She's done. Her whole career is done. So I think they definitely need better ults. I definitely think they need better attacks because the whole idea of an assassin is get in, get out. That's the whole idea about it. Like Countess does it a little bit better. I mean, she can't really get out as easily as the other two, but she gets a kill, fucks off. That's it. That's an assassin. That's what an assassin should be more like. Like assassin should be targeting the ADCs, the mages. Just get in, get out. Basically, they can't really do that apart from Countess. Xena and Kalari definitely are examples of that. Shinobi, on the other hand, is just fucking nuts. She can fight an entire enemy team and she's fed. But yeah, like that's the only decent assassin is Shinobi, in my opinion. Um, like I said, I do have a lot of problems with Xena as well, but it's only because very good players play her. I think. So yeah. Uh, but for I think their ability across the board definitely needs an upgrade for all characters. I think each character should have a little bit more health, a little bit more armor. Tank should have way more stats for base, like way higher base stats. ADCs should also get just they like specifically. I think what the ADC's biggest problem is for how they pop off. This item right here, this item should be nerfed. 35% nullified physical defense while still having this item that also allows them to do 6% of someone's health. How do you counter that? You can't. As a tank, you can't build armor because it doesn't matter. They have this item. Even if you have 400 fucking physical defense, that this one item fucking tears you in half. Your physical armor means jack shit to this. Oh, you try to build fucking health? Guess what? This thing counters it. Like, there's no way to play around it. There's nothing a tank can do around these two items. Nothing at all. The only thing they can do then is go damage, because their durability means nothing to those two items. It really doesn't. Like, I could go a full physical defense build, and a doc will still peg me in the ass and just shred my dick off. Meanwhile, if I have 6 magical defense cards, that gadget is crying in a corner, barely able to touch my, like, a fraction of my health. What the fuck's up with that? So, what I'm getting at is, I think, I think the ADCs definitely need a nerf for their items. I think if you're gonna have nullifiers, do 20%, 15%. Because the thing is, you give these items, like, if it was 35% on its own with that passive, sure, why the fuck not? But 60 physical power on top of that, that's a little insane. So, if you're gonna do nullifiers, do 20% and see how that works. I think 20% is reasonable. At that point, that's only countering one physical item at that point. So that's fine. That'll be fine then. I think that'd be great. I think early early game, I think ADCs need a flat out nerf though. Early game ADCs should have um ADCs should either have one of two things. Items to stack to actually make them good, or longer time scaling because more often than not, I see more ADC players every day. Like every single game, like I'll start from down here and go all the way up, just to show you my point. There is so many ADCs in each game. Look at this. Okay, in this game there's actually only two. In this game there's two on my team. There's there's two in this game. There's three in this one. There's two in this one. Uh there's only one in that one, but look what happened. We lost because of it. Uh there's five carries in this game. Well, if you count Wraith as a carry. Um One, two, three in there. Only one, because two of them are our team. Uh there's one there, two, okay, so there's two, that's fine. Then there's two there. There's only two there. Oh, no, there's three. There's three there. Uh, Three in that game. There's four in this one. But like, you get the point though. I mean, I'm sure you guys have a lot of matches like this where there's just a lot more carries than there should be, and the reason why that is because there's a lot of games where having a caster is just generally worse. It really is, because the only thing I need to do against a caster, most of the time anyway, unless they're specifically building to counter me, uh, boop, that's it. That is all I need. As a tank, this is the only item I need, and every once in a while I'll go for this item, I'll go this item and this item. And then I'll go a hybrid item sometimes if there's like a lot of mages on their team. That's it though. That is it. And it's a big so what I'm getting at is I think mages I think in order to prevent these ADCs, they need to for like from double stacking, triple stacking in games. I think they either need items that require scaling, so kill 100 minions and you get this passive, or something like that, or they need to have lower damage. They need to have lower damage in the early game, like how they did with the one patch. Like I'll show you. So even though they did nerf, they did nerf Rampage, but they like at the beginning of the game he does have higher damage. If I can actually open it. Uh, but yeah, like Rampage, they gave him 60 damage in the early game instead of only 50. So just kind of do something like that, but instead of like doing something like this, decrease it. Give them the same amount of damage that they have now, but make it to where they have not as good scaling in the early game. Make it more of a progressive thing to where, they can't just 1v1 a mage and win every time. Make it to where they actually would lose heavily against a mage because a mage would have way more burst damage. That way, the support can also be a lot more effective in battle as well with the ADC. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that this game needs to do. Um, and that's the big one is ADCs need a nerf. They're just way too strong. All right, I think that's all I gotta say for this video. Like to summarize my thoughts, nerf tanks in damage, buff their durability though. For ADCs, nerf their nullifiers and their base damage scaling so they can't contest with the mages, but make it to where in end game they are still the strongest damagers, as that's their whole point. But they shouldn't be able to steamroll everyone at the early game. It's stupid. and then make the mages have. I mean, they have good pen items. It's just I think mages really just need. I don't really know what they need, to be honest. I think the mages might be just fine because the mages aren't really supposed to take out the tanks. They're supposed to take out, the squishies. But it is kind of insane how they don't do anything to a tank. I don't know if that's because mages don't build pen that often or if it's just because energy armor is that effective. I don't know. Or both even. So, yeah, but I do think it's bullshit that a ADC will beat a mage in a one-on-one because they just have way higher damage, way more consistent damage. That should never be the fucking case. Um, so yeah, that's kind of summarizes my thoughts. I think assassins also need a little bit more, but just better ults. They just put themselves in a horrible position. Like if they're fighting a competent person, the competent person's gonna put them in like the worst possible scenario ever. I mean, hell, I the one time I was a Muriel, and you want to know what I did? Azina actually, believe it or not, Azina can actually go on top of you even when you're ulting as Muriel. So what I did was I literally teleported to an ally at Fountain, and Xena fell right on top of Fountain and died instantly. It was so funny and cruel at the same time. Oh my gosh, it's possible though. Like that's what I mean. Like they can put themselves in like the worst scenarios ever, especially Xena. Xena literally, like anytime I get Xena ulted, if I'm playing someone Pacific like Steel, I'll just like ult into the tower and just get her killed that way. If I'm playing as like Sevrog, I'll Phantom Rush into a tower or go through a portal and put her in a worse position from one of my allies waiting there or something. Like just you just have so many ways of putting her in a bad spot. Um, but yeah, that's all I really gotta say, I guess. Um, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you found this video at least informative, or just I guess informative, or agree with my opinions, basically. Uh, like I said, I just think tanks need to be even more weak in damage department. Maybe not Sevrog, because Sevrog really like he's not that huge of a target, and he doesn't have like insane CC like the other. Like he only has a root and a knockback with his ult. I mean, it's not really that insane. So I definitely need some ways to make the damagers aggro onto him. So I definitely think he does need a little bit of damage for sure. Rampage not so much. He's a fucking huge ass target, so that's fine for nerfing his damage. Greystone, honestly, if you're not gonna, honestly, if Greystone's not gonna get a damage buff or something, I think the best way to do with him is give him something like Athena from Smite, where you aggro people to you. Maybe not the whole enemy team because that'd be fucking nuts. But like maybe aggro, like if you, because your E does nothing besides block. What if you can like smack onto your shield like as an active ability as well, and have like an aggro ability where you could select whoever you want to aggro, but you gotta be in a certain range of them or whatever. That could be effective. If you just aggro them for like 1.5 seconds or something like that, that'd be fine. You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm just talking about out my ass, but anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.